Hello again, and welcome to part 4 of our 8-part series on English parts of speech. In this video, we'll be focusing on adjectives. This video will give a definition of adjectives, discuss the questions adjectives answer, discuss adjective order, and then we'll talk about the different types of adjectives: descriptive, quantitative, demonstrative, proper, possessive, interrogative, indefinite, compound, and articles, and finally, we'll talk about cumulative and coordinate adjectives. As always, we'll start with a simple definition. An adjective is a word which modifies a noun or a pronoun. When we say modify, what we mean is that an adjective adds detail to it. So instead of a car, we might say a red car. Red, in this case, modifies the noun car and is therefore an adjective. You can generally tell a word is an adjective if it answers one of the following questions about a noun. What kind, how many, which one, and how much? In the example we used before, a red car, we know that a car is a noun, and red is a word that tells what kind of car. As we go through the types of adjectives, we'll see more examples of these questions. First, though, let's talk about adjective order. For native English speakers, you probably never notice this, but when two or more adjectives are used to describe the same noun, there's actually a specific order to use them in. For example, you might say 2 red cars, but you would never say red 2 cars, even though both of these are technically grammatically equivalent, because in both phrases, 2 and red are modifying the noun cars. So, even though they're saying the same thing, only one of them is correct. In English, adjective order is generally as follows: number, opinion, for example, beautiful or ugly, bright, dark, that sort of thing, size, age, shape, color, proper adjectives, and we'll talk about those in a minute, and then purpose. For example, hiking boots or a sleeping bag, that sort of thing. Now let's talk about the types of adjectives. When we say types of adjectives, what we're really talking about is the kind of modification that the adjective is doing. First, there are the descriptive adjectives. This is the largest group, and most adjectives that you will see fall into it. Descriptive adjectives, as the name suggests, describe a noun or a pronoun. Words like funny, tasty, and so on are descriptive adjectives. Descriptive adjectives also have a quality no other type of adjectives have: a degree. Descriptive adjectives can come in 3 forms: positive, comparative, and superlative. The quote-unquote basic adjective form is the positive degree. Let's use the adjective large as our example. Large is considered to be the positive degree of this adjective. The comparative degree is larger because it compares whatever noun it's describing with at least one other noun. The superlative degree is largest, indicating that the noun being described is bigger than all the other nouns that we're comparing it with. Typically, to go from positive to comparative, we add an ER at the end of the word, and to go from positive to superlative, we add an EST. There are, of course, exceptions to this. For example, we don't say gooder and goodest, but rather better and best. In addition, if the adjective is more than 2 syllables long, instead of adding ER or EST, we add the word more or most in front of the adjective. So instead of saying beautifuler and beautifulest, we would say more beautiful and most beautiful. Getting back to adjective types, next we have the quantitative adjectives. These adjectives are some kind of number and always answer the questions how many or how much. For example, in the sentence, I have $50, 50 tells me how many of the noun dollars you have. Next, there are the demonstrative adjectives. Words like this, that, these, and those, which point to a specific noun or pronoun, as in the phrase, that dog. If a proper noun is being used as an adjective, it becomes a proper adjective. For example, American cars or Italian food. An adjective is only a proper adjective if its noun form is also proper. Possessive adjectives, as the name suggests, indicate who owns something. Possessive adjectives are often the same as possessive pronouns, words like his, hers, ours, and so on. But possessive adjectives always have a noun after them. In the pronouns video, I used the sentence, Mark took his bike to work where he handed in his report to his boss, as a way of demonstrating how odd it would be to replace the he and his words with Mark, But if we look more closely, we actually see that all the examples of the word his are functioning as possessive adjectives, modifying the nouns immediately after them. His bike, his report, and so on. Interrogative adjectives help ask a question. They are always followed by a noun or pronoun and include adjectives like which and what, as in the example, which paper. An indefinite adjective gives vague information about the noun. Words like some and several are considered indefinite adjectives, as in several people. Compound adjectives are created by two or more words being smooshed together and then used to modify another noun. Examples might include a part-time worker, a 5-hour car ride, or a well-known celebrity. Finally, there are the articles, of which there are only 3: a, an, and the, or the, depending on how you pronounce it. These are adjectives that are used to tell whether a noun is specific or not. A and an are used for non-specific nouns, a glass, for example, and the, or the, is used for specific nouns, as in the case of the glass. Lastly, let's talk about cumulative and coordinate adjectives. These two categories of adjectives are fairly simple. Cumulative adjectives do not have commas between them and always appear in adjective order. For example, a bright blue stone, where bright is an opinion and blue is a color. Coordinate adjectives, on the other hand, have commas between the adjectives, generally when the adjectives come from the same category on the adjective order. For example, a bright, beautiful stone, where both bright and beautiful are opinions on the adjective order. Now, realistically, no one remembers the adjective order, and so the easy way to tell them apart is to try and put the word and between the adjectives. If it works, the adjectives are coordinate, and if not, they're cumulative. So to use the earlier examples, a bright and blue stone doesn't sound right. A bright and beautiful stone does. If you can remember adjective order, great. If not, the and trick will also get you the same results. Hopefully this helps with a basic understanding of how adjectives work with English grammar. As always, thanks for watching.